Hi out there. It is me, Brianna, and you're listening to Are We Caught Up Yet Marvel Edition. The internet has pooped its pants, but hopefully you can hear me.
I can hear you. I mean, you weren't talking for a while, so
Yeah, I knew. That's why I was like laughing a little bit because
yeah.
the recording for the opening started 8 seconds late. So I
Mm,
was like, I'm going to be sitting here for 8 seconds because I don't know exactly when it stops.
right.
Um,
That's okay. I mean,
so
your camera is frozen for me as well, but that's okay.
And yeah, your camera's frozen for me, so I
Oh,
assume it's
excellent. Look at
my
that.
internet. I think it's my internet. I mean, you do, if it is your camera, you are posed very superhero-y. It's actually kind of funny.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I guess if both of our cameras are frozen for each other, then I don't know what's going to show up in the recording for
Never
people.
do.
But if it is me in the pose, then that's great. Very apt.
I mean, it is like a pretty cool pose. I'll just send you a pic. Uh anyways, uh regular rigmarole stuff. You're listening to Are We Caught Up Yet? You can find us on youtube.com/Save the Game Media. Are We Caught Up Yet on podcast services? If you do want to show Save the Game Media some extra love, you can get early access to our content and get some exclusive content as well. That's going to be patreon.com/Save the Game Media. I think that's everything I normally start with. Today I'm joined by my co-host and friend Sam, who's doing the superhero pose. How are you today?
Um, Pretty good. Busy, as per usual. But yeah, no, feeling all right. Your camera's unfrozen for me now, so
Your
um,
camera is not unfrozen for me now, but
that's fine though. That's fine. Um,
I did send you a picture. It looks pretty good.
Thank you. I mean, I'm just staring off into the distance there.
Yeah, I told you it's like that superhero pose, like you're about to do something very important.
Yeah, I mean that not gonna lie, that's a little bit underwhelming personally from what I was expecting. I was expecting it to be a bit more sort of like, brooding and sort of a bit
Yeah.
more that almost just looks like I've factory reset kind of face. So thank you for gassing me up with the superhero thing, but I'm not sure I buy into
I think you look
to that.
good.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Um, I've just gone to default settings. That's what I'm doing there. Yeah, I'm good. That's pretty much what I've got for you.
Okay. Okay. Well, this is a show where we talk about some watching stuff,
Yeah,
and something just came out yesterday/today for you.
yeah,
How are we feeling about it? For everybody, that's going to be The Last of Us season 2, episode 1.
yeah. I mean, haven't seen it yet, so
Oh, so you have no
can't
feelings about it.
can't tell you.
Just make it up.
I Yeah, okay, right. So very interesting choice to put the end of the game right at the very start of the
I
season.
thought so too, honestly. Yeah.
Working backwards chronologically is very, very interesting. I also love the part where they added in the dragon. I thought that's
Mhm.
quite inspired. Um and then when that one clicker put on the top hat and started dancing, I thought that was not
Honestly, I was just shocked. How did they even get the top hat on?
I mean, yeah, not really the creative choice I was expecting, but one I don't hate.
Yeah.
The tap dancing could have been better, but that's fine.
Yeah.
I guess he's clicking with his mouth enough. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I haven't seen it.
That's
I
devastating for me.
will be probably watching it this evening, I would expect. Um, but no guarantees on that front. But I will, of course, be watching it at some point, week to week. So looking forward to it. I've heard good things. So yeah,
Yeah. All
yeah.
right.
Sorry to disappoint you there.
Devastated.
Yeah.
I'll never recover. Really.
Mm.
I was looking forward to talking to you about it, but
We can't all get what we want.
Yeah. I will say I don't know. So they have the normal like HBO like after the episode like oh this is the making of kind of thing. In between the credits and the making of, there's like a preview of season 2 or whatever. Um, I don't know if you're gonna watch that or not, but if you do, I'm curious what your thoughts are because what they're doing like in that preview, I was a little surprised. So I'm curious what your thoughts are on that specifically.
Interesting. In terms of like you were surprised that that's a season 2 thing and not a season 3 thing, or
No, I'm surprised what they're doing with season 2.
oh, okay. So like I'm inferring like indications of new things,
Yeah, it feels like it to me.
right?
Again, haven't finished the game, but this doesn't feel like it would be something that was in the part I didn't play. Um,
Okay,
Not that it's necessarily like it wasn't. I was watching it and I was like, oh, like this looks bad. It wasn't anything like that. I don't want like anybody to be like, oh no, like I was like curious because it seems like it's like a different trajectory than what I was expecting.
I mean you
Uh,
might as well say it because I've played the game, so like I know what happens.
okay, so I guess kind of spoilers, not
Mhm.
really. There it's a preview for anybody listening. It's like literally at the end of the preview that's like this is what's coming in the season. So I'm not even talking about what happens in the episode.
Mhm.
Um they're making it seem like they're going to be staying in Wyoming for the whole season.
Oh,
That's there was like one part where I was like this might be Washington. Um but the way that they're kind of scaling what happens like in Wyoming, it makes it feel like they're going to be doing like, oh, there's going to be a big horde of zombies and the horde is going to overtake all of Jackson. And like they're going to be like there's going to be like these big battles between like the zombies and the humans and like they're going to be here a while.
interesting.
That's kind of how it felt for me. But
Well, I mean, I guess technically it doesn't by default mean it's included in the season, but I think I have seen in one of the trailers for season 2, um, the Take on Me scene with Ellie and
mhm,
Dina. So that is they are in Seattle at that point, aren't they? Because that's where
I
you're
think
riding around
so.
on the horse.
Either that or they're like almost there. I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
they are
like
there
on
though.
the way, but they're out of Jackson at the very least.
Yeah.
So
So,
maybe there's like maybe that we do keep going back to Jackson.
yeah, that's the only other thing I could think of is like either they're not leaving towards until like the very end of the season or they're leaving and this stuff is going on in Jackson so they're like scaling the game like story.
Hmm.
I don't know what they're doing. I couldn't really 100% tell. Um so
Yeah,
I was like I wasn't mad at anything I saw, but I was just definitely like I don't remember this.
I could maybe see them like doing two storylines where like you get the Ellie and Dina stuff with maybe some Joel flashbacks, and then on the other side
Yeah.
you go back to Jackson and have it be like I guess Tommy centric.
Yeah. Hold on. I'm gonna because I don't in case somebody's listening that hasn't played the game, I'm gonna message you something.
um,
That's why I'm worried. Not that I necessarily need that story plot moment to happen, but that's why I was thinking it would be like all of season one, except for maybe the very end.
I would be amazed if
If they don't do
that
that.
was the
Yeah.
case.
I would be too. But the way that like the fighting with the horde and like the he's like
Although
there
I guess I have had a theory for a while, and I haven't seen the first episode. I have had a theory that they might actually withhold that thing
until the next one.
until the end of
Oh,
the
until the
season.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
like Ellie and Dina still go out to Jackson, to out of Jackson to Seattle, but we don't actually get the full context and maybe even see
Why?
everything
Yeah.
until the end. So
That's
like
definitely possible.
that way you have the converging storylines of
Yeah, I don't know. Well, definitely let me know what you're thinking like after you
mm,
watch the episode because there's like some pieces and tidbits where I'm like is this happening soon? Is this happening at the end of the season? Like I don't know, like the way that they kind of have like woven the story for the first episode as well as what you see in the preview, I'm like very like it could happen at any moment.
mm.
Like I don't know.
And I guess that's smart, like
Yeah.
because for people who've played the game, they presumably know that it's coming. So like you can play with expectations of when.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, it will be very interesting. I am looking forward to watching it, of course. So
Yeah. Okay. Keep me updated.
I shall.
I assume you're watching it tonight.
Most likely, I
Okay.
can't guarantee, but I think that will be my plan. So
Okay. Cool. Um, is there anything else that you've been watching that you would like to yap about?
um, no, but there's lots of stuff. Well, I guess still watching Daredevil.
Hmm.
I'm an episode behind, but the finale is this week, so I think I'll just wait for Wednesday and
I do
then
that
watch the last
sometimes.
2 episodes together.
Yeah.
Um, Still pretty good, I guess mild spoilers for when we get to it, but enjoying it. But yeah, there's what's starting soon. I mean, Love, Death and Robots is I think next month, as we were
Ugh.
talking about the other day. Can't wait for that.
Please. I need more.
I will watch Black Mirror, but that's sort of weirdly become something that I'm not like super raring to watch, but will be something I watch eventually.
I can't watch that show anymore.
Um, what is there? Oh, the second season of Andor is starting
Oh,
as
that's the
well.
Star Wars thing, right?
Yeah, which is one of the best Star Wars things that they've done.
I'm super passionate about Star Wars, guys.
You are, I know. So
Historically.
looking forward to that as well. And I feel like there's something else.
Anything on Apple TV? Another HBO show?
Hmm. Hmm. That's really annoying me. Let's see. Do I know? Do I know what I'm talking about? No, I don't.
Silo, maybe?
Is that soon?
I don't know. I thought they just had something come out. I don't watch it, so.
Oh,
Murderbot is coming out soon.
I'm so dumb. I'm so dumb. The other thing that I had in my head that was starting soon was The Last of Us. So
Oh yeah. It is starting soon, as in it already started.
silly me.
They are doing the Murderbot Diaries. Like Apple TV is doing a TV show for the Murderbot Diaries, which is a TV or a book series. So if anybody is not in the know about that, that's probably going to be pretty good.
That's Alexander Skarsgård.
I definitely know who that is.
Played Tarzan. Also in
Of
Succession.
course. Okay. Okay.
You know
Oh,
Succession.
he was in Succession. That's
He
weird.
was. He was the guy who bought out the company. Spoilers, I guess.
I've been watching Pride and Prejudice, 2005.
Mm-hmm.
And what's his face is in there from
What's
Succession.
his
And I
face?
was
Right?
like, I was like, hey, I know him.
Yeah. Little less of a pushover in Pride and Prejudice.
Yeah, it's been good so far. I haven't even finished it, but it's been good so far.
That's just disgusting.
It's been like a week since I watched it. Like
That's
I started
even
watching
worse.
it.
That's just disgusting.
I'm really bad. Okay, that one's actually kind of not my fault though, because I was watching it with my dad and his girlfriend. And
Doesn't make it any less disgusting.
I'm mostly just watching anime, guys. Nobody's surprised, but it's okay.
What?
It's okay. I did watch The Last of Us. Apparently somebody else didn't. So I really don't think there's anything else I've seen. I've just been watching Solo Leveling, which everybody should watch 10 times.
No.
It's really good, Sam. I think you would really enjoy it if you did watch it.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. Um, we've got some new Avatar: The Last Airbender coming soon. Not
Oh,
soon,
can't
but
wait.
like soon.
Counting the
I really
days.
can't wait. I know you're being sarcastic, but like I for real can't wait.
Gonna be so sick.
Did you know that today is World Quantum Day? According to Google.
Yeah, obviously.
All right. I
It's the
didn't know
day
that.
Ant-Man began.
Of course. Well, speaking of Ant-Man, Loki season 2.
Oh yes. Famous for having Ant-Man in it.
That was one of my worst transitions, but it's okay. Uh so today we'll be talking about Loki season 2. As I'm sure you could tell from the title and thumbnail and whatever. Whatever you clicked on probably said Loki season 2 on it. And here we are, 20 minutes in. We had important things to talk about, guys. Even though we talked 45 minutes before starting recording. Um I Oh wait, pause. If you play video games and you're not playing Blueprints, Prince, because Taylor keeps thinking I'm saying print. It's not. It's Prince as in crown. You should be playing it. Okay. Now Loki season 2. um First thing we're going to start with, of course, is general thoughts on the season. Um Holy cow, what an incredible piece of writing. What an incredible piece of art. Uh Man, I really loved the show. And I knew I would because I loved the first season so much, but damn, it was really good, guys. That's my general thoughts. Sam, what are your general thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, there's no real need to beat around the bushes there. It's the best show they've done. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
like it's just top to bottom,
Yeah.
soup to nuts, excellent. So, and that's all we caught up yet for this week. Thank you very much, everybody. Peace.
Yeah. That's like, I mean, ugh, it was so good. It was so good. It was so good. And I don't even know like how to handle how good it was because it's like I I see a world where all of the Marvel stuff was this good and I think we'd be in a much different place.
Sure.
And that devastates me.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
what a freaking bummer. Okay, well, I let's get ones. Um we're going full spoilers, by the way. Oh no, your camera unfrozen, refrozen. It's not good. I hope the recording doesn't freeze. I'll say that. Anyways, I can't look at you. I'm sorry. Anyway, uh, so soundtrack. Um, what I wanted to talk about was the soundtrack. Uh,
Hmm.
and I was listening to the I haven't done like my full listen through of like season 2 soundtrack yet. It is very similar to season 1. In that sorry, I have to send this to you. I promise I'm being productive. I really enjoyed it. It's the same kind of vibes, but what I wanted to specifically point out was now that we've kind of gone back through like end of the season and we've like relived some of those like not even necessarily key moments, but like moments in the show that are back from season 1 and stuff like that. Like the first there's a track I think it's called um it's something about like the first time that you see the TVA. Hold on. I have the track like right here. Let me look. TVA First View. I listened to that track after finishing season 2 and it kind of the soundtrack is now sounding like very like nostalgic vibes to me, and I don't mean like old-timey nostalgic vibes, but like I think that like it makes it makes it sound like they kind of knew that this is where it was going the whole time, like in the soundtrack. And so it's like almost like maybe in my just my interpretation, but feels like Loki is nostalgic for the TVA because he now can no longer participate, even though
Mm.
it's the first view. Like that's the name of the track. Anyways, we got there eventually. Sorry. That really got me. You're unfrozen now, thank God. Because I could not look back over.
Excellent.
Did you see the picture I sent you?
I did. I
Okay.
did.
I think the first look was a better look for you, I'll be honest.
Yeah, probably yes.
Um anyways, how do you feel about the soundtrack? I know you love it, but like what are your thoughts
Yeah.
on that track, the feelings of like the vibes of the soundtrack, that kind of thing?
Yeah. I
What
mean,
let me
I couldn't get enough of the original soundtrack
Uh-huh.
when the first series debuted,
Uh-huh.
and it's still in relatively regular rotation for me. But so like I won't say that I listen to a lot of this soundtrack because like you say it is very similar, a lot of it, which again isn't a problem because they found a sound that works, is immediately iconic and memorable, and
Mhm.
they run with it. Like if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Mhm.
Um, but there are some tracks on this that I think are like, pun not intended, godlike, like
Yeah.
S tier, get chills every time I listen to it, kind of stuff. Um, particularly in the last episode, um, which if you know, it's like pretty obvious what section I'm referring to. Um, it's yeah, I think Natalie Holt, obviously bring her back is one of the smartest things they could have done.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Um, it's and I think what you said about it feeling like weirdly nostalgic is you've like hit the nail so perfectly on the head because it does feel old timey. Like the theremin is a very sort of, it sounds like an antiquated instrument.
Isn't that so interesting? Because it's one of the newest instruments we have.
Precisely. But the
Huh.
way that they use it and the sound that it makes, and I think coupling that with the aesthetic and the vibe and the thematic branches of the show, all
Mhm.
of that together makes it feel very like strangely cozy and like comforting
Mm-hmm.
almost, which is so bizarre. Um,
I agree with that.
it's just like, and that I think is the hallmark of it, speaking about music specifically, the hallmark of a truly excellent OST, that you can immediately recognize it and that it actually invokes something like not only emotional but physically in you as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's very impressive. So yeah, again, like the show, I have no criticisms whatsoever.
I I would definitely agree with that. I don't have any criticisms at all of the soundtrack. I'm very much looking forward to listening through like the whole soundtrack and like adding a couple of tracks from season 2 into the
Ascension.
rotation. That's one.
Ascension. Yeah.
Yeah, because I actually never ended up listening to the full season 1 soundtrack. Hold on.
Hmm.
Let me find it. Um okay, part 1 it looks like, not part 2. No, I won't. That's volume 2. You know what? That is actually something I do want to talk about.
Okay.
I think it's really interesting that the way that I don't know if it's I'm going to assume it has to do with the composer because I've never seen this before. She has it split into 2 volumes for both seasons. And I've actually never seen that before. Um, I don't know if she just uh like writes more tracks, just cuts more tracks for like the official soundtrack. Like I don't actually know why it's like that, but I do think it's very interesting.
Um,
Have you ever seen
yeah,
anybody do that?
I I have a feeling that there has been another even MCU show that's done volumes. Let me see. It will be a recent, well, a more recent one. No, no. Miss Marvel did
Oh,
volumes, 2 volumes.
there we go. You cut
Um,
out there. Miss Marvel is what I was gonna guess. But yeah,
yeah, where because I don't know why there's some that do and some that don't, but the delineation between volumes is the music featured in episodes 1 to 3
and then
and
four to
then 4 to
six.
6.
Yeah,
Which is smart, I guess, because you sort of have the
yeah.
mid-season break. Um, but
I
yeah,
definitely think that it's not like a bad thing. It's just it's not something that normally happens. If it is split, it's usually split by disc, but it's still listed under the same album. That's the only thing
mm,
I've really seen. I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah. I
Hmm.
just looked. Hawkeye has 2 volumes as well.
I wonder if it just is the TV shows then.
I guess so. I mean, like again, it sort of makes sense because of the episodic thing that you would split it in half. I also don't know whether that, because you would think splitting it in volumes would make more sense if there was an actual break between the first 3 episodes and the last 3, but there's not, right? It is just week to week. So like if episode 3 aired and then there was like a month break or something, you know, and then episode 4, 5, 6 came out, which
Yeah.
is something you see with like I think Invincible did that, right? Where they split a season in half and aired it like a month apart or something, a couple of months apart.
I haven't seen it. I'm not sure.
If something like that happened, I think the volumes would make a bit more sense. Like you say, it's not a good or a bad thing. It's just interesting.
Yeah.
I guess it's a tidier way of letting people access the tracks of the stuff that they've seen thus far without having to wait until the season ends, I guess.
Yeah, there's also some spoilers and stuff in like the
That's true
titles.
as well. Yeah. Like, well, if you saw a track called Ascension and you're like, huh,
I
what does that
wouldn't
mean?
understand it.
I
Yeah.
mean, no, like contextually, you might not know, but it at the very least, it gives you hints maybe as to where the season is going.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm trying to think like I mean, there's like the San Francisco, California, 1962, Pasadena, California, 1994, Cleveland, Ohio, 2022, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know. Um, okay, so oh my god, there's so much I want to talk about for this show.
Ugh.
Um, it feels overwhelming because I don't know where to start. Bechdel test, don't think it passes. I don't think Sylvie talks. If she does, it would be her talking to X-15.
And mostly talking about
Loki,
Loki or
which would make it not pass the Bechdel test. Which is why
indeed.
I didn't, because Renslayer could be having a conversation
That's true.
with somebody, but she's mostly just like also kind of like talking about He Who
Loki again.
Remains. Loki again.
Yeah.
Who's not talking about Loki? He looked
Who
so
isn't?
handsome. Um, it might pass the Bechdel test with some of the smaller characters, like the people in the War Council, maybe.
That's
Can't
true.
remember. Anyways, maybe,
It scrapes past, maybe.
maybe that's okay. I'll give it a pass because it was such a good show. Okay. Oh God, what do I want to talk about? So much stuff. Um, let's start just because it's the first thing that came into my brain. Miss Minutes was such a crazy, like maybe not unexpected, but a crazy turn of events where Miss Minutes was this AI that like truly became a full AI and like fell in love with He Who Remains, but in such a bizarre way where she's like, "You'll never be him," and she was like so scornful, but like wanted him to be him. But you also have to wonder, does she know that He Who Remains is still at the end of time?
I guess so.
She seemed really angry, so I couldn't tell if she actually did know.
Like, yeah, that's true, I suppose. Yeah, I guess I hadn't really thought about it. Huh. Maybe.
I mean, I could understand like him I could understand him not telling Miss Minutes because he doesn't really need her for anything.
Yeah.
So like maybe she's like not in the know. I don't know. I do think it's like also very interesting to see her with Renslayer. I do have a little bit of beef with what they did with her character. But
Renslayer.
yeah,
Hmm.
I feel like they made her very much like a scorned woman and like I didn't love that for her.
Yeah, particularly with like where they left her off at the end of season one, where she seemed like, I guess technically in a way, the sort of scorned woman that you're talking about, but like seemed to have an agency and like a real goal in mind. Um, and like I just don't feel that really materialized in any way here. She felt, in my opinion, at least, very sidelined for a lot of it. Um,
Yeah, I just think when you think about like the sequence of like what like season 2, like what happened to her, right? Like she goes off to find He Who Remains. She finds He Who Remains. She starts to fall in love with He Who Remains again. It doesn't work out because he betrays her. She finds out that like she was with He Who Remains, but then he got rid of her, like kicked her to the side and removed her memory. Like it's just like she just like I don't know. And then she gets really angry, like as you would, and like just becomes like this like angry, scorned woman that like starts like plowing through everything and I don't know. It just felt like it was very, like, kind of like a hammer, kind of smashing through stuff. And I think I could
Yeah,
have used more nuance with her character.
yeah. She like to my sideline point, it's sort of she felt in a way kind of just like a means to an end for the story rather than a fully three-dimensional character in her own right.
Yeah.
It kind of felt like she was almost being used as like a plot device. And then when they didn't really need her to flesh out Kang as much, she took a back seat. Which again, like I guess technically is the right move because I'd much prefer to be spending time with Loki and Sylvie and Mobius and all of those other characters, but
Yeah.
still,
Yeah.
it's a
I
disservice.
definitely I definitely agree. It's like I don't think it ruined the show by any means. I don't think that it was even like a bad storyline by any means, but I
No,
think that I do wish that they had done a little bit more with her.
yeah, but especially because of how like um looming she was in season one, right? Like she was like the ever present top dog kind of,
Mhm.
in the TVA, at least as it existed at that point. And I know she sort of went rogue at the end of season one and went to find Kang and all of this, but it's sort of like she's just sort of there in this season. Um, and it's like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like there could have been more nuance and exploration done there that would have not only fleshed out her character, but also probably done a fair bit for the TVA as well, just generally. Um,
Mhm.
but alas,
Too late now.
yep,
We'll never see it again.
yeah,
Um, while we're on the topic of her, she's I think the last character we see. What was that about?
yeah. Well, she wakes up in the void, right? Uh,
Yes, but she's also at the TVA.
well, yeah, the ruins of a TVA, I guess. But then that opens up a can of worms because, like, the assumption and implication was that the TVA is a singular entity across time and space, completely devoid from all of that. There aren't other versions of the TVA necessarily, but that and other elements of this series kind of throws a bit of a wrench in that idea. So what even is Alioth? Like what is it? It's a big cloud, purple monster thing, and like she faces it down like it's clearly approaching her at the end there.
Mhm.
But like I kind of get the feeling it wasn't gonna kill her, you know?
Yeah.
So that's interesting. Um
Yeah, it is.
I think
It's very
I th-
open-ended there.
yeah, I think that's just like honestly planting a seed, you know, like laying down that's where her character is and that something's about to happen with Eliath. It could be that like if we see her again, which I hope we do, and it's not just like a cliffhanger, she's there
Mhm.
and what happened is up to you kind of thing. If we see her again, it could be a thing where like she's literally just running away from Eliath and then she finds a way out or meets someone or. But I kind of hope for something more interesting than that.
Yeah,
Where in the same way that like Kang found a way to harness Eliath, like could she do the same?
maybe.
Because she was He Who Remains is like right hand woman, right? So it's like even if she
Maybe.
doesn't remember all of that or really know what she's doing or how to do things, maybe there was a version of her that could get Eliath under her control. And like, what could she do with that? That'd be pretty sick.
Yeah, it would be. It would be really cool. They also could have used her for like replacing He Who Remains.
Mm,
They
yeah.
would have had to do a little bit of work, but I think they could have done that too.
Hmm.
Speaking of He Who Remains, hey, I know that we maybe don't like that actor, but like that was such an incredible performance.
Yeah.
Like,
Just adds to the bummer of it all, you know?
yeah, what a freaking bummer because him being like the big bad guy, that would have been so cool. Ugh.
Yeah.
He was okay, like for real, he had so many really cool things. Like he was able to pull off this like really charismatic performance, like this really timid performance, like all of those like beats in between. Like it was just so freaking good. Like every single moment, like when he's the one that's like at the end of time and he's like the way he's like pretending to be like his more timid self and like oh god. I don't think I'm going to get over that performance for a very long time. Every moment that he was on screen was incredibly riveting.
Yep. Just a super compelling character. In the same way that we spoke about it with season one, it's like you can tell he's having fun with it. Um, and I think having Victor Timely as like the antithesis of sort of what we were expecting from Kang, it's kind of like I don't know why my brain jumped to this example. There's so many examples across fiction, but the idea of like in Spider-Man PS4, like
Mm,
you're kind of waiting for Doc Ock to become Doc Ock. Like you
mhm.
you know who he is and what he's about and stuff. But he seems like a really nice guy and he's trying to help and all of this.
And
Like
he
he seems
doesn't.
really innocent, and obviously in the game he does. But
But
like
yeah, and
here,
there's
you're kind of expecting the same thing. You're like,
yeah,
so right, so they're going to try and find a way of maybe stopping Kang becoming Kang, but inadvertently actually cause him to become Kang.
but he
And
dies.
yeah, they then pull the rug out, which is so clever, I think,
Yeah.
because they know that we're thinking that. We're sort of anticipating that moment where there is like a switch flipped or a mask that drops on Victor Timely, and he just is revealed to be actively like one of the most evil people ever, or something, you know, or that he's doing all these experiments and he's actually like messing around and experimenting on people, you know. But no, he's just like an actually good version of the guy that's
But
embroiled in
what's
all of this.
so crazy is that like at no point like I understand that he's the villain, but at no point was he like incredibly evil.
Yeah.
You know, like it was never like, oh, he's done all this like you can tell this is like super horrific stuff, right? Like I understand that there's like the pruning of the timelines and stuff like that. So it's like, okay, like so he's murdering like millions and billions of people, but like it the way that they kind of discuss it is so clinical. So it's kind of hard to like really understand the scale of that. And like everything else that he does is just kind of like he's just is like, hey, like I'm just here.
Yeah. And like again, it presents really interesting narrative threads and concepts that they could have pursued had
Oh
things turned
God.
out differently, where like you can envision a world where when the next Avengers film was still Kang Dynasty instead of Doomsday, when Kang was, you know, going to be the next Thanos, it's like, so in the next Avengers film, you could see a reality where alongside the Avengers and the characters that we know and love, there are good Kang variants, you know, not necessarily that look like Kang and have the same powers, but just different characters that Jonathan Majors is playing that are trying to help the heroes, um, fighting himself. Like that would have been so cool.
That would have been cool. It also would have been so cool for them to like the whole time, like they're like this one movie, right? They spend the whole movie beating one of him, not
Mhm.
realizing that there's like a bunch of him. And that's like the reveal at the end of the first movie of like, oh, this is only one. There's actually a whole war coming.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Oh, that
like
would have been so cool.
and I guess maybe the sentiment might be diminished because of what they did with Victor here, but you could have another thing where you rug pull again,
Mm-hmm.
where you have a seemingly very good Kang that is helping the heroes, and they beat another Kang that's bad, but it turns out that the Kang that was helping was actually an even worse Kang that was just smart and playing the long game, you
Yep.
know, like taking out competition so that then he can do a heel turn in the third act or something and become the real villain. Like there's so much opportunity and interesting stuff, and it's so disappointing that
Oh, it's so painful.
things panned out the way they did. Um, I will say, like, there has been slight shifts in like Jonathan Majors' case. He is still getting work. A lot of the charges have been dropped. So like he's tarnished no matter what, which is unfortunate. And I am always going to be reluctant to ever like willingly accept or forgive someone because there's an off chance that justice just wasn't served, you know, and he got away even though he has actually done some things which we don't know. But like you always have to be very tentative and cautious around people after something like this, which is difficult because I would love in my heart to like just forgive him and be like, maybe you didn't do anything wrong and all of this is just a real like shit show. But at the same
Well,
time, there's probably not smoke without fire. So it's like that they made the right call by firing him and shifting away from this. But it is a shame that such a talented actor um is either by his own fault having done something or not having done anything but being caught up in a scandal has sort of wiped that opportunity from us as consumers. Um,
yeah. I mean, my thing is like, uh, it's one of the downsides with like modern technology is that it's not actually a trial in court. It's a trial of public opinion.
yeah,
And it's like immediately judge, jury, and executioner. Like you
yeah,
get like 5 minutes to like. I'm not saying
yeah,
that he didn't do something bad or that he did.
exactly.
I don't know. But what I am saying is that there have been cases where people didn't do anything bad. Somebody accused them and it was too late. Like it's already like all of that stuff is done for them. Like because people move so quickly.
Yep, yep,
So, oh, so freaking crazy because he's such a good performer. What a bummer.
yeah. And I think like I know this is sort of just touching on something, but because we're talking about Jonathan Majors and Kang just generally, like to be transparent, this is the last time we've seen or heard of Kang.
Yeah.
As you might expect. This was um, you know, being marketed and released shortly after all of the scandal happened, which obviously made it a bit difficult to market this, considering Kang is such a big part of it. Um, like I think that whether it was intentional or not, the way that the show ends and sort of where they leave the idea of pursuing Kang variants does provide them a relatively convenient out, right?
Yeah,
Where,
I think that they took care of it.
yeah, again,
They
I
closed the
don't
loop.
know. Yeah, I don't know whether that was something that was in there from the beginning or whether that was like a reshot thing after the scandal. But it means that, you know, the next time we see the TVA or Loki or Mobius or whoever, there can just be like an expositional line of dialogue that says like, and we dealt with the last variant, you know, that's not a threat anymore, that kind of thing, which is like obviously you can tell what they're doing by doing that, but like there is enough, not that it matters compared to like real world consequences, but like there are in universe justifications for why Kang might just suddenly disappear after being
Yeah,
built up for a while.
I also think that they could use it, not that they necessarily would, but if the actor was truly 100% cleared
Mm,
and Marvel was willing to be like, "Okay, yeah, we'll work with you again," kind of thing, and he was also willing to work with them, I think it also leaves, like, a door open for, like, this is why it took so long to get back
sure.
to this spot,
Yeah.
because the TVA was taking care of the variants for so long, and one finally slipped through the cracks or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Um,
I think, as you might expect, Jonathan has been on the record relatively recently saying that, you know, he loves Marvel and he'd do anything for them, which is like, it makes sense that he would say that. I don't think that Marvel will take the risk of bringing him back unless there is a real like switch around in public opinion and some information comes out that he really was sort of framed. Feels wrong to say, but you know what I mean. Um, I even then I think like you say, sort of the court of public opinion and online stuff like that stain doesn't really go away in the same way that
yeah.
sort of cancel culture does its job, and it's relatively permanent and very, very hard to escape. In the world of celebrity, I think that that's just exacerbated sort of 10 times over. So that doesn't necessarily mean that Kang as a character is done. Like, I think that that's
Ugh,
the exception to the rule. Like, they could
I just
recast.
I would just be so bummed if they did because he was so
Exactly.
good.
Exactly. And also, I feel like that might be a can of worms in and of itself, because what actor would be wanting that connotation, even if Jonathan Majors hasn't done anything? It's like you recast and you're playing the character that this guy played before me, and everybody, because of the association between Jonathan and Kang, will you know what I mean? It's like that's a messy web that a
Mhm.
lot of actors might not want to step into. Um, but who
Yeah.
knows?
Who knows indeed. Oh man. Where else do I want to go? Um, I just recently, it was like incredibly recently, like I think end of February recently, that I finally watched Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Mm,
Really good film, by the way,
very
guys.
good.
Features a lot of dildos in a very unique way. Um and imagine my surprise when I recognized somebody. I was like, "Hey, no, wait a minute. This guy kind of looks familiar."
Hmm.
um I love this actor. I don't know what I've seen him in besides these two things, but he's so fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is his name?
Ki Kwan.
There we go. Oh, here we go. Okay, sorry. I just wanted to like see his IMDb because
I'd be
I'm like
amazed
curious if
if
I've
you've
seen him
seen
in
him in
other
anything
stuff.
else.
He's really good. He's
I
like
mean,
so
like,
fun.
he was a big child
Oh, he's
actor.
in the Goonies.
Yeah.
I've seen the Goonies multiple times.
Yeah, he's Data in the Goonies.
Yeah,
Not if that means anything to you. I mean, you say you've seen him multiple
it
times,
doesn't, but
but
no, I know who he is.
yeah.
But
And he was also very famous for playing a character in one of the Indiana Jones films with Harrison Ford.
yeah,
Um,
Temple of Doom.
mm, but he obviously came back to like prime time really for the first time, because even as a child actor, he wasn't like that prolific. But he was
It was a
known for those
20-year
roles.
gap.
Yeah, and then he came back with It Was Everything Everywhere All at Once. That I mean that's what got him his Oscar. So
Yeah, so he was in something in 1997, then something in 2002. So there's a big gap there.
mhm.
And then after that, it's 2001, or sorry, 2021, in a movie called Finding Ohana. And then he was in Everything Everywhere All at Once. And then he did American Born Chinese, Loki, Kung Fu Panda 4, Tenacious D, love her. It's White Lotus.
Yeah.
So,
So he's having a real comeback right now.
but yeah, no, he's incredible. And I was really thrilled to see him in this. I think that he had a really great performance. I really enjoyed the way that they introduced him, where he's like, hey guys, like, and they're like, hey, he's like, I know you. You call me Obi.
Mm-hmm.
It was like the way that they like kind of introduced him. He's such a fun character. Um and I really love the way that he helps the audience understand information um in such a fun and comedic way. He was really he was such an incredible character.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of the few casting announcement nowadays in the past several years that has gotten me like actually genuinely very excited, you know, because
Yeah.
with how many actors are in the MCU nowadays, and they are, you know, a lot of the time quite big names, big actors,
Mhm.
it loses some of its luster a little bit. Like, oh, there's another a big actor, you know.
Yeah.
Like I'm counting the days until I see like Tom Cruise or Leonardo DiCaprio cast in one of these things, because it
Mhm.
probably will happen. Um, but when I saw that Kihi Kwan coming off of Everything Everywhere All at Once was announced um, to be in Loki, I remember being like so giddy, which sounds so stupid to say, but like I knew as soon as I saw it that he was going to crush it, and he did. And I think the vibe that he has just as a person, if you see him in interviews and stuff, the sort of bubbly, quirky, fits so well with the Loki aesthetic and the TVA. It's like a marriage made in heaven, where like you could make an argument that so many other actors could play OB, but like nobody else, in my opinion, having seen it, like is OB, you know?
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, just I guess the only downside is that he's such a great actor and such a fun like character, both in terms of like OB, but also just his character, Ki Kwan's character. It's kind of like the bittersweet thing of we're probably not going to see him very much, you know, because like he's not a big prime. He's not an Avenger, you know. He's not.
Yeah, but man, wouldn't that be such a cool moment where he's like, "Hey, I'm Obi." Like,
I mean, I would love nothing more than for OB to sort of become like whatever the next iteration of the Avengers team is. Have him be like their tech guy, you know, the guy that is always in their HQ and he's tinkering away behind his desk making things, and he can just teleport through one of the doors back to the TVA whenever he wants and come back in and grab random things that they need, you know. Almost just be like a Deus Ex Machina, like they need something and then all of a sudden Obi has it.
yeah,
Like that would be so sick. I don't think they're going to do that, but like the opportunity is there at the very least, which is exciting, but I'm not getting my hopes up. I kind of feel
yeah.
like
Listen, okay, so I know that like in world, I also know there's like other stuff coming. It's not what I'm referring to, but I'm just talking about like how funny would it be if Iron Man was not like spoilers way past where we before where we are. Anyways, Iron Man wasn't dead, and then he like randomly shows up in the TVA, right? And Obi's like, "Hey, I'm Obi," and Iron Man's like, "What the hell?" Like,
mhm.
I just like the Tony Stark and like Obi interaction would be like so funny. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I just imagine him just like talking to like any of these like super serious heroes. It's like, I need this thing right now, and I don't know. He just
Well,
like,
even not even necessarily like a more serious character. Like, what if Obi was speaking with like Star Lord,
mm-hmm,
you know, or Spider Man? Like
mm-hmm,
Peter's just sort of completely out of his depth, has no idea where he is in the TVA, and Obi just pops up from behind his desk, you know. Like
I
there's
can actually see them getting along really well because Spider-Man is supposed to be like so smart.
so could I, and a tinkerer, you know, in the same
Yeah.
way. Um, yeah, so there's lots of opportunity there, and I feel like I could say this about a lot of characters. To be fair, like I would say it would be dumb for Marvel to not capitalize on Oscar Isaac as Moon Knight, but here we are, you know. Um, just like I would say it's dumb for them to not capitalize on Obi because of how great a character and how well received he was, but also how much of a hot commodity Ki Kwan is right now, to not capitalize
Mm-hmm.
on that. But at the same time, by definition, he is kind of like a secondary character. And when you have so many primary characters to work with that you're still kind of sidelining, I feel like Obi might be one that unfortunately slips through the cracks. And if we do see him again, it will be relegated to sort of this kind of corner of the universe.
Yeah,
Um,
I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of like, I really hate that I'm saying this, but like baby out with the bathwater kind of thing where they're like, we're done with this like Kang stuff, like it's all gone kind of thing. Like
yeah,
we're not touching the TVA again. We're not touching like Loki's there, like, you know, Obi's there. Like we know that they're there, but like we're not doing anything with it. I
exactly.
wouldn't be
Like they can
surprised.
be like name dropped, and it's like, yeah, no, he's still there, tinkering away in the TVA. It's like, oh, that's cool, but I'd love to see him. In the same way, it's like, are we ever going to see Mobius again? Like, I don't know. I'd love to,
Never.
but
I would love to, but there's no way.
they leave Mobius in a very interesting sort of detached space, even more so than OB.
Yeah, that was the
There's,
next place I wanted to go.
yeah,
Yeah, so we can just kind of jump because all I have to say is that I love Obi. Um Especially like when he like finds him again and he's like, "Yeah, I totally believe you." He's so cute. Ah! And then he's like, "Hey, can you build this?" And he comes back and he's like, "Well, I don't know if it's a short time my wife left me."
yeah,
All of that was like so incredible. I really really loved that character. I don't have anything to say besides like he just made me laugh a lot and like him being like trying to explain like, yeah, no, that's not possible, but clearly like if you can do it. I don't know, the whole thing was just very silly.
hmm,
um but jumping to Owen Wilson, Mobius, we did leave him in a very interesting spot.
we did.
um and he's kind of spying on himself, being a dad to two very chaotic children, I might add.
Hmm.
Um, and he did not want to know, but like as he says, now he knows. And it can't be unknown now.
Yeah,
So what is he gonna do?
I mean, he's retired from the TVA,
Mm-hmm.
so he's sort of like, I guess, in essence, a free agent now. But like, what does that even mean? Um, like, is he just going to go live a life somewhere? Is he going to sort of stand apart and just spectate his other life because he sort of is, you know, feels detached and like I simultaneously like where Mobius is left off, but I also kind of feel like I don't. It is. I feel it's almost too open ended in the sense that they made some choices for the character that are logical based on his journey and his arc over the two seasons. And I love like his last line, you know, like I might just stay here for a while, let time pass. And he just sort of has that
Yeah.
not resigned look on his face, but just sort of like a peaceful sadness, you know?
Yeah, well,
Um,
I think that that felt like very that felt like it felt like the he was acknowledging like because if he stays there and lets time pass, theoretically he would start aging again
mhm,
and be like no longer be like stuck in this immortality.
yeah.
So I don't know, it felt like a because he's been immortal for so long, it felt like an acknowledgement of his mortality kind of thing. Like let time pass as in like I think I'm done like not living like as in like oh I'm suicidal like kind of like I'm done living kind of thing of like but I want to see my life out. Like I want to see the rest of it through.
Yeah, and like actually experience things for once, you know?
Yeah.
Um, not have that level of detachment from things. Like he's actually going to take the time. Because before, if he wanted to go to a different time or a different place or see something, he could just, you know, zip zap, go over there. And that, and also his job sort of naturally created that level of detachment. But
Yeah.
to just experience time passing, it's a novel concept for him. And I think it's overwhelming, probably more so than anything else. And I think that Owen Wilson plays that very well.
Yeah.
But
I definitely agree with that.
in the same way of like, I don't know if we're seeing OB again. If we aren't going to see Mobius again, I would have maybe liked more of a indication as to what his plans were. Because it's very open ended and that's great. And that makes sense for the character of like, he doesn't know what he's going to do because like he's never had to think about it. But if we're not getting a season 3 and they don't, if we're being frank, don't want to pay Owen Wilson again to show up somewhere, like I guess we just have to take that Mobius is somewhere out there in the world living his life, you know. And there is, I guess, like an ironic beauty in that where he just sort of disappears into the background, you know, fades away into obscurity and just becomes normal like everyone else. But I don't know, for how beloved Mobius is as a character, I kind of wanted just a little bit more.
Yeah. My if they pull him again, I would really love if he like did that moment where he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna let time pass," and then like 5 minutes later, he's like, "I'm unemployed," like has a freak out and like has to like start. He like becomes like an uh he like does like independent contracting or something like that, like where he's like erasing people for others or I don't know, like I don't know. He's just doing something like silly where he's like, I realize I'm unemployed and now I don't know what to do with my life. And so he has this like he has his own office that he like
Yeah.
makes or something. I don't know. I think that would be really funny. But
Hmm.
I really enjoyed his character in this season as well. There was one episode, I think it was the very first episode of the second season where like the performance was like super off for me. I was like, what is happening? Like this is not good.
Mm.
But beyond that, I think I like didn't have like any complaints on this character. I thought he was really good. I really love his character. I really loved the monologue he gave when Loki asked about Glorious Purpose.
Hmm.
There's no way I could quote any of that, but like the sentiment behind it, and the speech that he gives about him and his partner and everything that happened, I think is really cool. It also gives us a little bit of insight why Loki wasn't just immediately like destroyed
Hmm.
because she was
Yeah.
there at the beginning of the season, first season. Um, so man,
Yeah, I just looked it up. He said there's no comfort, you just choose your burden. No, sorry, most purpose is more burden than glory. And trust me, you never want to be the guy who avoids it because you can't live with the burden. Loki says, how do you live with it?
Yeah.
Talks about scar tissue, and there's no comfort in it. You just choose your burden.
Yeah. That was such a good moment, especially because in that moment he's not friends with Loki yet, but he
Mm-hmm.
answers the question so sincerely.
Yeah, because it is like in literal sense and something you don't really consider. It is essentially two immortal people talking to one another, right?
Yeah.
About like you just have to choose your pain. Like life is pain, but you just choose the pain that you want to subject yourself to. Um, which is again a very sort
Yeah.
of deep ideological thing that they're
Yeah.
proposing
It
because
was it
it's
was
such
a
an
really
alien
deep moment.
concept to them.
Yeah, I think that like it's also so interesting because you're so right that they both are immortal, but it's almost in like they're immortal in very different ways.
Mm-hmm.
I find that so interesting.
Yeah,
Because it's basically like if you really think about it, it's a god coming to a human for advice.
yeah.
Coming it's like I really enjoy that. It was such a good moment. Okay, so there's a couple other characters that I kind of want to go through, and like there's a couple other moments and stuff that I want to go through. I do want to talk about just for like a half a second B15. I don't have really anything to say about B15. I thought that the actor's performance was incredible. I thought that I really enjoyed B15's character. I'm glad that they kept B15 around. Don't really have much else to say.
Yeah. She's sort of just like, and I don't mean this in a derogatory way at all. She's just sort of like the supporting character that fleshes out the cast, but she is like the stalwart sort of rock that makes sense to be here, is here, does great here. Sort of underpins a lot of the stuff going on. So yeah, Wunmi
Okay.
Mosaku did an excellent job.
Okay. And then we also have Casey.
Hmm.
Only moment that I was like really I thought was really funny was like him geeking out about meeting Obi. Like be like, "Can you sign my book?" Like, it was just really cute.
Yeah.
And then they also made him an Alcatraz escapee,
Hmm.
apparently who was a real person.
Yeah.
Frank Morris. Don't know who that is, but he's a bank robber, I guess.
Yeah.
So, anything to say about Casey?
Um, no, I mean, I guess just sort of the same thing as B15, just to a lesser extent, where it's like
Mhm.
a character from the first series that sort of fleshes out the world of the TVA, is a logical character to have reprised the role, and they manage to a small extent sort of flesh out that character a little bit more, give them a little bit more to do.
I think he was such an
Um,
interesting flesh out too because it's like he's such like this very meek and quiet kind of guy that's just kind
mhm,
of works at the TVA, but he was a bad person.
yeah, I mean,
Theoretically.
it's sort of further enhancing the concept of Victor Timely versus Kang, right?
Mhm.
Where it's like your variants aren't always going to be bad. And it's also I think like that in and of itself raises a question of like not nature versus nurture, but the idea that Casey has no knowledge of his prior life and therefore has a completely different personality and character traits, you know?
Mhm.
It's like that brings up the sort of being shaped by environment and
Yeah, nature versus
upbringing.
nurture.
Yeah. Um, which is
Hmm.
interesting as well. Like, can a leopard change its spots? Which again is kind of like emblematic of Loki's whole journey, right? Like Loki is the villain. Loki is the trickster god, but can he be something different? Is it the people around him that shape him into that? Is it his own actions? Is it, I think there's lots of little interplays like that thematically that work very well.
Yeah. Okay, last person that I kind of wanted to cover for just a little bit before we get into like the like last bit of meat is Sylvie.
Hmm.
Um I did not love her character in this season, to be honest with you. I liked her character a lot more in the first season. I don't think it was like, oh, this ruined the show. It was just like the fact that she like was so stuck in like in her ways, like
Yeah,
really frustrated me. The fact that he had to keep going to get her and she was like every single time just like did not care about him at all.
yeah,
Um I don't know. They I think that Owen Wilson had a really funny line where he was like, "Oh, it's very complicated when you love yourself so much," like kind of thing. And it's funny, but it's like it's also like true. He's technically like in love with himself. like,
hmm,
like, um, and I don't think that it feels like she's not in love with him,
yeah. I think,
but I very much got the impression from the first season that she was. So
yeah,
I don't
I'm
know.
with you 100%. Like, I feel like if there is a weak link in the chain of this series, it is Sylvie, which sounds like it's like crazy
Mhm.
to say because of how like pivotal she is, especially in the first series.
Yeah.
It kind of just felt like she was doing the same thing again, but there was less nuance this time.
Mhm.
Like, she was angry, she hates the TVA, she wants to bring the whole thing down, she wants to kill Kang, she sees Victor Timely, she's like, I'm gonna kill you. And she's like fighting with Loki about the motives and what they want and all of this. And it's like a will they won't they thing. But if the intention was to sell that she is like desperately in love with him as well, but she's actively fighting it because of PTSD or trauma or lack of trust or whatever, like that just didn't land. Like it didn't come across, not in the performance, not in the writing. It kind of just felt like the last bit of character development at the end of season one didn't happen. Um, it's like, did are you going to acknowledge like the fact that you kissed and like you clearly care about him? No, okay, I guess not. Just very strange, and like they justify enough her, wanting to just sort of live a life and
But what
experience
kind of life
things.
is she even living though? That's like my
Exactly,
thing. She's like a worker at McDonald's in Oklahoma.
yeah, and like again, there could be a message to that of there is a beauty to the mundanity, right? Where like if you're in it and you're experiencing it all the time, it's like, yeah, it can be boring and you hate your job and all of this. But for someone who's had as rough a life as she has had, who hasn't experienced the mundanity of a 9 to 5 everyday job like that, that is alluring. In a weird way, I'm pulling from you said you saw Everything Everywhere All at Once recently.
Mhm.
It's like Ki Kwan's line in that, right? Like in another universe, I would have loved just doing laundry and taxes with you. You
Mhm.
know, it's like from the outside looking in, there is probably a romanticism to the idea of something as simple as working at a McDonald's.
Yeah, and I
But
definitely understand that. And I definitely
again, it
agree.
just didn't connect.
Yeah.
it's like they laid the groundwork for it, and that's very interesting, but then she sort of stripped away from that, and it's not like she touches on it a few times of kind of just wanting to go back to that normalcy, but then every single time the people that she's around make the point of like, well, if you don't help us, you won't have that thing to go back to. And she just doesn't seem to get it.
Yeah, and then it finally happens, and then she's upset that it happened.
It's like, well, we were telling you this the whole time.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
I
like
wish
she's just a wet blanket, which
I
like is
wish
waft to
he had
say, but
asked her, what could I have said to you to make you change your mind? Like
yeah,
I know that it probably would have been a moment of like she probably says one thing and it doesn't work and it wouldn't change her mind, but like I wish he had asked. Like, I don't know.
yeah, yeah. And like I still love Sophia Di Martino. I think she's very well cast.
Yes.
Um, but like it's night and day to season one. I think like her
Mhm.
character, the writing for her character, and even like just generally like the performance, I think is several times better in the first series.
Yep.
It kind of felt like they almost didn't really know what to do with her character. I feel like they did all of the interesting stuff with her character in season one, because like once you've accomplished your life goal, which is to kill he who remains, which she did, like there's there's plenty of runway. You just have to be clever enough to find that runway and then take it. And I just don't think that the writers, the showrunners, Sophia, I just don't think they found that runway. So they kind of just, well, we can't not have Sylvie in the show. So we'll have her and we'll find her some things to do. But it, it didn't feel as dynamic and like a double act and a partnership as it did in season one. Um, so yeah, bummer, but it's just
Yeah.
good that the rest of the show is so strong that that kind of like supersedes the weaknesses in Sylvie's character. Because
Mhm.
otherwise, I think that would be like I mean, it is a glaring problem, but it would be a glaring problem that would be very hard to ignore if the show wasn't so good.
I agree with that. Um okay, last person obviously we have to talk about is Mr. Loki himself.
Mm,
Um okay, just like taking a brief moment to kind of think of how the character Loki himself has changed from the first time we see him to the last time we see him is such a crazy and really cool character journey. And I would argue I don't think they've done that much of a character journey with any other character in the MCU.
no. And like weirdly, I think the closest one would probably be Thor.
Yeah.
Um, and even then, it's like comparatively. I guess the one like caveat that people add when they say this, because it is a general sentiment that like Loki has the best arc. They did kind of like naturally, obviously reset him. Like the
Mhm.
Loki that we started out with is dead.
Yeah.
Like he died in Infinity War, but technically this Loki has seen everything that Loki saw. He just didn't like actually experience it. So in a way you can say that he was changed by what he saw, and that kind of informed his character in season one, which then leads to here. So but yeah, like no doubt Loki is the most compelling arc of any character we've seen thus far, for sure.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Even
Uh,
trumps like Tony Stark, which
oh
is
yeah.
crazy.
Absolutely trumps Tony Stark. Um Man, it's so cool. Oh god. Okay. So there's so much I want to talk about. But I'm going to try and keep it succinct. One of the things that I really very passionately want to talk about is he realizes like after by the way, I stopped watching after season or after episode 4. Like I took a break. Don't ask
Mm.
me how. I took a 2 to 3 day break, but I was like, I'll just take a little break. Don't know how
That
I
is
did
a
that.
hell of a cliffhanger to stop on.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like I was like, hey, I guess I kind of like simulated like a week to week thing.
Mm. I mean,
For like
what a
2 or 3
sick
days.
cliffhanger to stop on for a while, though.
Yeah.
I love how that episode ends,
Oh
where like the
yeah.
music is ramping up and it's just the shot of his eyes as the blast comes towards him, and it does the sort of quick shake, and then just cuts to black. So sick.
Uh-huh. I liked the whole thing. Like the way they brought it back to for episode 5 and like him jumping and like talking to himself. He's like, "Hello?"
Mm-hmm.
That was so cool. Um no, like that whole thing where it breaks, he kind of slips out of time again because of that. Then like realizes that he has to fix it, and then his pure dedication to fixing it. And I mean like the, oh yeah, it'll take you centuries. And he's like, all right, it's going to take me centuries. Like the way he dedicates himself to that to save his friends is so incredibly sexy. But also such a cool like plot point. Like he spent so long understanding it, and then all of a sudden he's reset and he's typing everything, has the passwords to everything, knows exactly. He's like, don't trip, don't drop this. Like he like knows exactly. You can kind of without, this is such a really cool piece of like film and storytelling. You don't have to see those mistakes because of the way that he's like, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. You know, he's already lived that and mistakes have been made. And
Mm-hmm.
he like he's like he just it's such a cool moment. I don't even know what else to say besides like it's just so cool that he put so much time and energy into it and became so smart, and like what a fulfilling moment.
Right, and not just that, but I think it's the 1-2 punch of he does all of that, which adds so much to his character. But then they have the storytelling balls to make it be futile anyway.
Yeah.
Like he does all of that. He shows that commitment. He trains essentially for centuries to know every possibility and be able to solve it, and it still isn't enough. It doesn't work.
Hmm.
And I
And
think in the hands of lesser storytellers, that would be a really frustrating thing,
hmm
because it's sort of like it's not the same, but it's teetering on the whole like it was all a dream kind of thing, where like you're building up to this thing for the whole season. Like the whole thing is you get Victor Timely, you convince him, you get him on board, and you get him to stop this thing to fix the TVA before it's too late. And like in the 11th hour of the show, you're like, yeah, no, all of that was pointless, you know?
yeah, and it's such a cool thing too because they bring it back because at the end of first season, right? He Who Remains says, he like literally tells him, he said, either you have to become me or you have to let me live. Like those are your
Mhm.
only two options. Like this is the only two choices you have, is like either I'm here or you're here. And like
Yeah.
it becomes like like it's a prophecy, right? Cuz he knows exactly like somebody has to be here. Somebody has to be doing this at the end of time. Like whether it's the time loom, whether it's like you being here, somebody has to be here. And he
Yeah.
says it, which means that like everything that happens from that point on is completely not useless, but like not useless as in like storytelling and like character building and all that stuff, but like the actions of everything is useless.
Yeah.
Like everything beyond that point.
Hmm.
So we spent a whole season doing nothing, and it was the best time ever.
Yeah.
I
And he
enjoyed
does
that
it.
so much.
He takes the
And can we
position.
talk about how he became Yggdrasil?
Yeah.
Oh, when I saw that, I freaked out. There's like nothing quite like that moment. Like that whole thing. Okay, first of all, he looked like Tom Hiddleston looked so hot.
The
Um
new drip
I know. Oh my god. The horns growing and like his like cape forming out of like
being
timelines.
blasted by the yeah.
Oh, my poor heart can't take it. Um I was fangirling so hard. Beyond that though, like him just like wrangling these like timelines and like these time streams or whatever, like and weaving them and using himself as the loom. He becomes the loom, which then makes him the trunk of Yggdrasil, which
Some of the
was
branches feed into his cape as well.
oh my god, it looked so cool, but also what a crazy moment for him to become Yggdrasil.
Hmm.
Like, what a crazy moment. Whoever thought that, I hope that their pillow is always the perfect temperature.
Yeah,
That
the
was so
ultimate
smart.
sacrifice.
Okay, but like
He's
also they could have done the ultimate sacrifice and just made him a loom, but they made him Yggdrasil. Like,
hmm yeah, they sure did. They sure did. And like this is only something you know if you're like a hyper nerd or if you've looked it up. But when Loki realizes what he has to do, and he goes down the steps and the doors close and they chase after him, um, he says like, "I know what kind of god I need to be" or whatever.
mhm.
But the line that he says, and he's looking at them and he's sort of very sort of sad, but he's sort of almost crying but smiling at them because he realizes what he's got to do. He says, "For you, for all of us, I know what kind of god I need to be. For you, for all of us, and for you, for all of us." Is a word for word callback of what Loki said um, to Thor as he was hanging over the black hole at the end of the first Thor film. Um, so there are various TikTok edits and everything splicing the two together, like Loki fan edits, just generally. And to have that full circle moment of Loki saying that and then sacrificing himself, letting go of the spear and dropping off into space, and then saying it again here, but doing it in a selfless way,
Yeah.
is just, it's an easy thing to do because it's like 5 words, but that attention to detail is the stuff that matters. Um, and yeah, he is canonically the god of stories now.
Oh my god, he is.
Loki, god of stories.
Oh, that's so cool. If you ever see another one of those edits, you're feel free to send them my way.
They're very easy to find, I assure you, but I will if I see any.
Please do.
And this isn't spoiling anything because he hasn't shown up since, but he has been confirmed to be appearing in the next Avengers film.
Mm.
So the God of
I wonder if it's
Stories,
him or a variant.
it'll be him.
Okay.
I mean, technically we don't know that, but I feel like relatively confident it's going to be him.
Okay.
So the God of Stories isn't going to be stuck to that chair for all time. Don't you worry, Brie.
Oh god, he's so hot.
Can you imagine the next Avengers film, right? We're in like the third act and all the heroes are just getting their asses kicked. All of them are down on the ground. They're struggling. And then in the background, just as all hope seems lost, you hear a little theremin come in.
Ugh,
And
they
then
would never do that.
a
Come
green
on.
portal opens up and outsteps with tons of timeline tendrils the god of stories to save the day.
Ugh, that would be so cool. But also, as soon as you said the soundtrack thing, I was like, that's not going to happen. They don't pay attention to music in Avengers films, and it's very upsetting.
Maybe this time they will.
I sure hope so, because that sounds like such a magical moment.
Yeah.
Okay.
And not only that,
So good.
but Chris Hemsworth is also in the next Avengers film. So not only you get that, you also finally have a Thor and Loki reunion.
Is his daughter going to be in it?
We don't know that yet.
Okay.
I would assume probably not. Likely referenced, but with how Love and Thunder went, how it was received, etc., I can imagine them maybe, name dropping, referencing it in dialogue, but not having an appearance. I'd be fine with her appearing, but
I hope they bring the goats back just one time.
no,
They can't do it more than once. Just
no.
once.
And we had more than enough goat.
One time, please. Oh, that'd be so funny.
I can't co-sign that, I'm afraid.
It's fine. I'll sign it by myself, and I'll sign a different signature for your name too.
Forgery.
Caught in HD. Okay. Couple things that we have left. Is there anything else that you want to talk about? The story, through line, characters, anything like left inside of this TV series before there's a couple of things we have to talk about, but it's not necessarily to do with the series.
No, I mean, like I like that the TVA is still an active thing, it's not disbanded or destroyed. It's like it is doing something. And I like how after Loki took on the form of Yggdrasil, the TVA sort of changed, where it's not about pruning now. It's about
growing the tree.
Yeah, and all of the posters and stuff have changed to being, about the world tree and all of this. I like that, and that means that the TVA, in whatever capacity, can continue to be a entity moving forwards that feasibly could show up anywhere at any time, which is cool. That's nice. And you would hope they capitalize on that. Yeah, B-15 is not necessarily leading the TVA, but is like in a far more authoritative top role now. Again, makes sense. Yeah, they did the whole sort of correcting the Kang thing, the whole the handbook loop that was corrected. So young Victor never got that book. Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, Miss Minutes has been rebooted, I guess. So she's probably not evil anymore.
Probably. That's what they say too. They're like, yeah, it's probably fine.
Probably fine. Yeah, I think that's it though. Everything else I think we touched on. So
yeah. Oh, what a good show. Okay. So we have one thing I do want to talk about before we get to our ranking list. We have, of course, our simp list. Is there anything that you wanted to add to your simp list? I want to.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Well, your simp list is very short. It's disappointing, to be honest. But
sorry.
It's okay. I'm going to rearrange my simp list. I knew I would. I suspected I would, I should say. I'm confirming that I am moving my simp list around. So Loki was 3, so it was Shang-Chi, then Druig, then Loki. I'm just gonna move Loki up to spot 1. Can't be helped.
Yeah. So you said a while back that you had seen something.
Yeah, and I still don't know what I was talking about. I have to find this edit now. I'm gonna find it and send it to you. Hold on. I'm not gonna Google it right now. I'm not gonna get distracted.
Was it Loki in his new drip?
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay. My theory on what happened you're not going to be happy hearing this, but my theory on what has happened is that I saw an edit of a moment that happened before the TV series in one of the movies, but like I wasn't paying attention because I just like wasn't looking at the TV because I was doing something else.
Excellent.
But regardless, that moment does still live in my brain rent free. So I will send you the edit that I've seen like 10,000 times.
Okay.
Not that I have it saved. I will have to search it, but I have seen it a million times. Okay, I'll send that to you later. And then ranking list. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
You go first.
Okay. So for my ranking list, this is actually going to go to spot number 1.
Whoa.
Previously, spot number 1 was Loki season 1. And now it's Loki season 2 with Loki season 1 right underneath it.
Nice.
I really loved this show so much. I think that they did such cool things with the characters. The story was incredible. The like visual design of everything. Like even when he was walking by himself, like in episode 5, when he's walking around the TVA, like the set design there was so cool. Like music is incredible. Like Tom Hiddleston's wig, incredible. Everything. 11 out of 10.
Fair enough.
Where are you at? Because for you, I have Loki season 1 as spot 9.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
This might be controversial. I'm going to put it at number 5.
Okay, so below Black Panther, above Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3?
Indeed.
Okay.
I think it's going to be, I mean, clearly by my ranking, it is by far the best show they've done. I think it will be very, very hard for a show to break that top. I mean, technically this isn't the top 5, but you know what I mean? Like to breach that any further. Because I think that the things above that on my list are so strong, in my opinion. But I'm open to being proven wrong. And you might say, well, how could it be better than this? I don't know. But
isn't
that's my
that such a
opinion.
sad thing too? We've already watched the best thing that Marvel's done, and it's over.
Well,
devastation.
Are you saying it's all downhill from here?
Yeah, always is.
Fair enough.
I mean, it's been downhill.
Damn.
We just got like a little bit of a peak, you know?
Sure. Yeah.
It's just gonna get worse. It's fine. I'm very confident that I will enjoy Agatha all along for the brief period of time that I get to watch it. Okay. So next we have What Are We Watching Next? I have it listed as What If Season 2. Yep. Okay. Just making sure, because sometimes you move stuff around.
I do sometimes.
Just making sure.
Well, go through the upcoming list.
Okay, so we got What If Season 2, Deadpool 1, Deadpool 2, Deadpool 3. Echo, What If Season 3, Agatha All Along, Captain America Brave New World, Daredevil Born Again, then Thunderbolts.
Sure. Yeah.
Does that sound correct order?
Sure does.
Okay. So be it.
So it is.
Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us for almost 2 hours. I just had so much to yap about with this show, obviously, since it's like my number 1 favorite now. And I feel like I could have yapped a lot more, but at some point I have to be cut off. So here we are, cutting me off. Special shout out to our current patrons. We have Alpaca Tom, Fabulous Brianna, Brianna's Mom, Nikolai at Night, Brendan Myers, aka the Winter Gamer, Marcus O'Neill, Lillian, David Hotright, Dave Harp, the Xbox Expansion Pass, Lee Navarro, Silicanet, Rick Davis, and Todd Oxtra. Thank you guys so much for your support. We really appreciate you. Sam, I have a question for you. Where can people find you?
That's a very private question. People can find me anywhere and everywhere at Samheaney, Heaney.
Okay. You can find me at Fabulous Brianna, FabulastBreanna. You can find Save the Game Media, most places at Save the Game Media. Some places Save Game Media. So, just take your pick. Do a search, see what happens.
Yeah.
Come join our Patreon as well. We'd love to have you, even if it's for the free trial. True story. We will see you when we see you. I don't want to say 2 weeks because I don't know what's going to happen, but we'll see you when we see you. Bye.
For all time, always.